Y'all ever thought about how fast life goes? Maybe it's because I'm in midlife now. But I was just reminiscing, like when we make it to this part of the year, and mind you, this is only my second year being back in the classroom, so I'm not trying to be funny or sound any type of way. But like, even when I was in leadership, we make it to this part of the year, testing season is among us. But you also know that end of the school year is literally right around the corner, and it's still, even at 22 years and 10 years of being out of the classroom, y'all, it's still so bittersweet. But I find so much joy in the fact that I can see the growth in my students, or students I've seen passing in the hallways through the year, students that I may have seen last year that have matriculated onto a grade higher and now are so close to being to the next grade level. And it just makes me so grateful that I get to do this work. I know I'm called to this work. I'm called to this occupation, to this career, no doubt about it. But, you know, at different levels, you experience different things that can sometimes foggy up your lens and your perspective. And although there are a million things that are beyond my locus of control, that I try not to worry about. Honestly, there are things that I still see being back in the classroom that I see from a leadership lens, but as a teacher, that's not within my locus of control. And sometimes, even as a leader, from my own experience, there are a million and one things that happen in the school building or even in the network or district that are beyond your control. You have to deal with what you can control, and I believe wholeheartedly and heavily in, creating systems, practical systems that are sensitive to the demographic of students that you serve, but also the students' needs, you know, because every school is different. Even schools within one district or in one zone have very different needs, right? You could also have very different needs between grade levels. And most of the time, school leaders do the very best they can with the resources they have. And I'm not talking about financial resources. I'm also talking about intellectual resources, the people on their team, the teachers that they have, right? Very few don't set out with good intentions. But anywho, I don't want to get off into that. I just wanted to say I'm super, super grateful to have the opportunity to be back, and to see it on this side, back in the teaching, on the teaching side, in 2026. I started in 2004. Yeah, 2004. And it was a digital age, but it was not a social media digital AI age, right? We still had the green grade books. We still had attendance on paper. There are so many things. I used a computer to do my lesson plans, but they were not submitted to someone electronically, right? They were printed off, put in the lesson plan folder or binder, so that when someone came to observe you, they could pull those lesson plans and go from there. Observations and evaluations were still definitely done on paper. So there are so many different things, not just that, but also the minds and brains of the newer generation of teachers is totally different than my mindset was. But our new generation of teachers have experienced so much, I don't want to say generational trauma, but they really, really have. From social media influences to COVID to, different catastrophic world events. I understand why their nervous systems are the way that they are. Ain't no doubt about it. However, God is still on the throne, and the same God that was on the throne in 2004 is still on the throne in 2026. Let that sink in.